So what really makes a neighborhood feel like a community, a place you actually belong? Is it something you can design, like a perfectly planned, self-contained island? Or is it more like a living thing, maybe a little messy, but totally connected to everything around it? That's the big question we're going to tackle today. I mean, think about it. You've seen them, right? Suburbs with these winding roads that just end. They have high walls, maybe one single entrance. It all feels so intentional, almost like a fortress. Well, today we're going to dig into the radical idea that started this whole design trend, an idea that was born from the chaos of the early 20th century. Okay, look at this. On the left, you've got your classic city grid. Makes sense, sure, but once cars showed up, it just became a nightmare of traffic and danger. Now, look at the right. That is a totally different way of thinking. It's not just a new map, it's a whole new philosophy for how to live, and it's a direct answer to a world being completely turned upside down by the car.
And this clash, the city fighting against the car, it really set the stage for one of the biggest changes in how we design our towns. We're talking after World War I, cities are just exploding. And the automobile is this double-edged sword. It's freedom, but it's also bringing total chaos to the streets.
So the planners at the time, they look at these new suburbs popping up everywhere, and they just see the same old problems. They were literally just stamping the old city grid onto new land. And it wasn't solving anything, not the traffic, not the safety issues, not the lack of community. They knew they needed a revolutionary new approach, something built from scratch for the modern world. And that brings us to the main character in our story, a planner named Clarence Perry. He was working for the Regional Planning Association of New York, and he cooked up an idea so powerful it's still taught in schools today. He called it the neighborhood unit. Okay, so what is the neighborhood unit? At its heart, it was meant to be a kind of protected enclave. And here's the brilliant part. Its size was all based on one thing. How many families do you need to support a single elementary school? That made the school the literal and social center of the whole community. Now, this is really cool. We're actually looking at Perry's own sketches here. See on the left? That's the old system, and he describes it as leading nowhere in particular. But on the right, that's his new baby. It's organized, it's hierarchical, and it's leading to the places where people go. You can just see how everything is designed to pull you into the center, right toward the school and the community spots. So let's just boil that diagram down into 4 basic principles. 1. The school is the absolute heart of the unit. 2. The whole neighborhood is surrounded by big, busy roads, almost like a moat, to keep all that dangerous through traffic out. 3. Inside you have a street hierarchy. Little quiet roads that feed into slightly bigger ones. And 4, shops and parks get put right in the middle to create that community core. Now, Perry's idea wasn't just some theory stuck in a book. Oh no, it became the actual blueprint for probably the most famous planned community in America, Radburn, New Jersey. It was designed in 1929 by Clarence Stein and Henry Wright, and they built it to be the town for the motor age.
This bird's eye view really shows you how they pulled it off. Instead of that typical grid of small city blocks, Radburn uses what they called the super block. You can see these massive chunks of land surrounded by the main roads. It's inside those super blocks. That's where all the magic happens.
And if we zoom in, you see one of the most famous features, the cul-de-sac. Right, these little dead-end streets gave cars access to the houses for parking and deliveries, but because they didn't connect through, they completely got rid of cars speeding through residential streets. The car had been tamed. But here's the truly revolutionary part. The houses were basically two-faced. The front door might have faced the cul-de-sac for cars, but the back, where the living rooms were, opened up onto a shared park. This created a totally separate green world just for people, a path system connecting the whole neighborhood. And this image just nails the ultimate goal. In Radburn, a kid could literally walk from their house to school to the swimming pool to their friend's place and never, ever have to cross a street with cars on it. This complete separation of people and vehicles, this was seen as the absolute peak of modern, safe design. So, for decades, this tidy, separated model was the gold standard for planners. But then, a new voice emerged. And she had a radically different and much more, let's say, human view of what makes a city work. That voice belonged to Jane Jacobs. This one quote just says it all. Where planners like Perry saw chaos that needed to be cleaned up, Jane Jacobs saw a complex, beautiful, and incredibly functional social system. She saw an intricate street ballet, and she believed the planners were trying to shut it down. Jacobs had a great word for these new developments: turfs. She saw them as these artificial, sterile islands that walled themselves off from the rest of the city. To her, they weren't building community at all. They were killing the spontaneous, organic interactions that happen on a busy, diverse city street. And she went right after the main selling point of Radburn's design, this whole idea of safety through separation. Jacob said it was a total fantasy. She argued that a truly safe street is one with lots of eyes on it. Shopkeepers, neighbors looking out their windows, people just walking by. Taking kids off this lively, supervised street and sticking them in some empty, boring park was, in her opinion, a huge, huge mistake.
So, what we're left with are these two fundamentally opposed visions of what a good neighborhood is. One side values planned order and finding safety by separating everything. The other side values organic complexity and finds safety in connection in the natural surveillance of a busy street. Let's just put them side by side. The Radburn ideal, it's all about safety by keeping cars and people apart. It's an orderly, top-down design that creates a neat, self-contained community. The Jacobs critique, it's about safety through eyes on the street. It embraces the organic messiness of a neighborhood that's deeply plugged into the rest of the city, where streets are for everybody.
So why does this debate from almost 100 years ago still matter so much? Because Perry's ideas had a massive, massive impact. They influenced New Deal towns like Greenbelt, Maryland, and all those winding, cul-de-sac-filled suburbs built after World War II. That's a direct legacy of this thinking. The neighborhood unit is still a core concept in planning, and this big argument it started is, well, it's nowhere near over.
Which brings us right back to where we started. Is the perfect neighborhood a carefully protected enclave, or is it a complex, messy, interconnected organism? When you look at where you live, or at the new places being built all around us, which philosophy do you see winning out?